if you're the Bengals, I think what they need to do is you got to look at how the Jets situation with Aaron Rodgers, how that just unfolded. You have to look at that and try to figure out a way to protect your investment in Joe Burrow. You got to protect Joe Burrow from himself because you know Joe Burrow wants to go out there and play. But the reason why I brought the Jets up was because in training camp, it was reports out of New York about how Aaron Rodgers was dealing with a calf injury. And we saw what happened 4 snaps into the season. Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles. And so if you're the Bengals, you don't want to put Burrow in a position to where he suffers a significant injury and you already know he's dealing with the calf injury. So even if you have to punt on the 2023 season, that would be okay because you're going to have Joe Burrow for future seasons to come. He just signed a new long-term deal, so he's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's going to be right here in Cincinnati. So I feel like if you have to punt on the 2023 season, then so be it. You need Joe Burrow for future seasons to come, more so than just the 2023 season. So these calf injuries, they always lead to something worse. So the Bengals got to be careful here. They got to be careful here. And then also, even when you look at the Bengals schedule, they still got to play Kansas City. They still got to play Buffalo. They still got to play San Francisco. It's tough the rest of the way. It's tough. And it's not going to get any easier. So they got to figure this out. Jamar Chase, he hasn't been himself either because Joe Burrow's been dealing with this injury. And I thought in the second half they got some things going. But by that time, I feel like the Ravens had already had momentum. They had already kind of put together a few drives, and they were controlling the football game. But you got to give the Ravens some credit because in this game, the Ravens were able to throw the ball effectively. You saw Lamar Jackson sit back there in that pocket and deliver the football down the field. Lamar Jackson had over 200 passing yards and no turnovers. He was efficient, very, very efficient, getting the ball to his playmakers. And also in this game, remember, the Ravens, they were without their left tackle. They were also without their starting center. They already lost J.K. Dobbins for the season. So the Ravens are dealing with injuries on their end as well. And they still came out and played at a high level and controlled the game start to finish. So you got to give the Ravens some credit. Got to give the Ravens some credit from that standpoint. And it was a great win for the Ravens over the Bengals in week 2. But even when you look at the stat sheet, the Ravens had 178 rushing yards. So they were able to run the football with Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards had 10 carries, 62 rushing yards. Lamar had 12 carries, 54 rushing yards. But the way that Lamar distributed the football in the new offensive coordinator, they got a new offensive coordinator now. Their new offensive coordinator, because they changed coordinators. They had Greg Roman last year. Now they have Todd Monken. Todd Monken is their new offensive coordinator. And this is exactly what they want to see. They want to see Lamar stand in the pocket and throw the football down the field. And he did just that yesterday afternoon at Paycor Stadium. But things are going to get interesting for the Bengals as we move forward. If you're the Bengals, you got to err on the side of caution here. You got to, even if you have to sit Burrow out for a few weeks, even if it drops you to 0-4, 0-5 on the season, if you have to pump for the 2024 season and for future seasons to come, and he's healthy, that's something that you have to do.